#1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Manny Pacquiao of the Philippines, and one of his most persistent nemesis, Mexican superstar Juan Manuel Marquez. They first met
to Bigger in the
7.5
Game with Jeremy and
years
Jose.
ago.
And
Marquez
we have our
came in on
rewatch
the
here of
13-fight win streak,
Pacquiao
trying to
Marquez
emerge
1.
from the larger
One of
shadows
the great
cast by his
rivalries in
Mexican
boxing
countrymen,
history.
Marco Antonio Barrera
Hopefully you
and
just
Eric
listened to our
Morales.
podcast
Pacquiao
episode
was
on
coming
this whole
off an
rivalry. We
11th
broke
round
it down.
knockout of Barrera
What this rivalry
just
meant for
6 months
Pacquiao, what it
before.
meant for
They
Marquez,
met
what
in
it meant
Las
for
Vegas
boxing.
for a
But Jose, it's
featherweight
going to be
title.
fun to
And
watch
what
this
transpired became
this
one
great
of the
fight
most
for, I can't
memorable
believe, man,
and
20 years
controversial
ago.
fights
Back
20
in May
years,
of
dude.
2004.
Let's take a look at how
I can't
called
believe it
with
either,
Larry
man.
Merchant
Like, and this
and
is,
Emanuel Stewart.
I just doesn't feel like 20 years at all, man. But you look at Pacquiao, he looks really young there.
So
He
does
looks like
Marquez.
a kid. Yeah. So, but this was, man, this was, Larry Merchant called Pacquiao in the first round a typhoon from the Philippines, man. And I was like, yep, that checks out, because this was quite an opening round. So, Jeremy, coming into this fight, I wanted to ask you, coming into this fight, man, and you talked about, like, during the podcast episode, like, you knew exactly where you were at when you were watching this fight, and what were your, like, if you could remember back then, like, what was your anticipation, or just, like, what did you think this fight was going to be when you first sat down to watch it?
I thought it was going to be a lot of high energy, a lot of high-paced. I didn't know we were going to get a classic. I think we never can truly predict that, in my opinion. But I thought it was going to be an exciting fight, and I was curious about this guy, Pacquiao. Like, I watched him, but I was like, is he a flash in the pan? Is he the real deal? So that was really the intrigue for me going into this first fight of, like, is this guy really something here? Marquez, I knew him as a good fighter, really good fighter, but he wasn't the exciting fighter. But like you said on the podcast, like, Manny Pacquiao, you were going to get excited.
Yeah, this was an interesting fight. I can remember too, there. I mean, I was kind of like in the same boat. Like, I knew this Pacquiao kid, like, he just beat Barrera, one of the greatest fighters in this era for sure. And now he's fighting Marquez, and this was a big fight here. And this crowd is electric there. I mean, man, we can't even hear each other talk, And this opening round, he let America and the world know he was here, man. Manny Pacquiao.
One thing I'll say, though, that knockdown, Marquez doesn't. I don't know if he ever got Marquez looking like wobbly. Is he going to be able to continue?
Right. I never got that either. I felt like he was fine.
Yeah.
And I think even in the fight they were talking about, like, I think it's more speed than power that was really knocking him down.
And he's off balance again.
But there is one shot. I'm sorry, Jeremy. There is one shot towards the end of the round that I feel like he was hurt.
And he caught Marquez going down, and I'm not sure Juan Manuel will be able to get up.
Jim Lampley, you're so wrong. No, he can.
Yeah.
As is obvious, probably. I respect Manny as time was going on. I was not a Pacquiao fan. He just had that face. I rooted for Marquez in every fight.
See, I was the opposite, man. Like, I was a big Manny Pacquiao guy. And it was just, he looked like somebody that's like fighting on the street, man. Like, he was just wild and just throwing punches, and it was just so much fun to watch. And you see here, man, Marquez walking to the corner, his broken nose, dude. Like, in the first round, that has to be so tough to deal with.
But you know what? I know, credit to his corner and his trainer, Infamous, been there for a long. They weren't phased.
No, they had a game plan, and they knew it was going to work.
And I do believe, if you saw the end of the round, how Manny was staring at him, Manny wanted to see, and Nacho, legendary Nacho, but Manny, I think, thought he had him broken. And that's a big mistake.
Yeah, because you look at some of these shots, boom, that's a good shot. Like, but he's sat right back up. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like a super power shot. It was just an off-balance, quick, good shot.
Which I think we talked about, like, Marquez
came out and tried to make
most of this rivalry he was the one who was balanced, and Manny would be off balance. But in this first round, a lot of times you saw Marquez was off balance and Manny was getting it.
Right. So the one thing we talked about on the podcast there, I mean, like, you know, the one thing you didn't see in that first round was a lot of right hands from Marquez that in turn were going to change this whole rivalry around, you know, and you'll start to see that coming in this round here.
If Marquez would simply move his head with any bend it down or turn off to the side, anything.
Yeah, he was standing straight forward, and it was easy for Pacquiao to get to him.
Which would be the only time you could say in this rivalry that it was easy for him. Not that Pacquiao didn't get him, but he made him work a lot harder after.
Ah, absolutely, yeah. This crowd was electric, man. But he's already, you can see him already bleeding down his nose, man, both nostrils.
Not sure where to throw. And Pacquiao knows exactly where to throw.
Straight left.
And it is, like you said, it's a classic southpaw for that traditional just right-hander.
Notice Pacquiao is not throwing right hooks or anything else. Just strictly one punch, straight left hand, right through the middle. He's so fast.
Yeah. Yeah,
Marquez
I mean,
doing those
why change it? Yeah, why change it if it's working? But eventually he's going to have to change it up.
Now he lands a jab over the top and a little hook.
Man, he is so quick, man. Sheesh.
That's what makes the Marquez is the way he's been able to. He was competing was like the speed difference between the two guys. To me, is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I think that's what to me people look at this rivalry because I just kind of thought, man, how can Marquez just keep up with this guy? Like, there's no way.
For a chance to rise to the top in the division. Here was the opportunity.
There you go.
In round one, Manny Pacquiao suddenly
here's the opportunity to rise to the top of the division.
Coming back on.
That's what was at stake for Pacquiao, man. Like, this was a time to make a name for yourself. And like I said, I think he made his name with the Barrera fight, but you know, people can lose fights. We wanted to see what he was going to do against really good competition, which Barrera was, and now he's, you know, Marquez is as well. And he's so far proven to be. He's coming.
It definitely affects you because a lot of time not only bleeding outside, actually bleeding inside.
But you see, it's just ultimate. Just Manny comes in, throws a punt. Now Marquez is countering back. It's just, and that's just to me like what you're seeing here. Like defines this rivalry. Always seemed like Manny would set the tempo, but then Marquez would just battle him back, throw him off.
Yeah, so I'll say this for these first two rounds. Manny beat the shit out of him. Like, you know, let's keep it real here. And but I think this is where things start to shift around a little bit.
Yeah, definitely the first round, Manny dominates. I think the second round is a little bit better, but I would give it to Manny in the second round too.
Yeah. So, you know, they scored it a 10-7 round officially. You saw HBO scored it a 10-6 round. So if you give him this fight, he's ahead big time. You know what I mean? Already in this fight, which is tough for Marquez to come back in. So that I give him a lot of credit that he absolutely turns this fight around to make it even make it a draw. You know, it says a lot about Marquez.
Yeah, testament to him.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anyone calling it the biggest cry of like that was a robbery in this rivalry was the third fight, I believe.
Yeah, that was the one. Yeah.
Into the fight.
Like, so the fact that in this fight, some were like, oh, Pacquiao won or Marquez. It wasn't like, oh, Pacquiao was robbed or anything like that. So I think that is a big testament to what Marquez did.
Yeah, look at that. 20-15 and there's only 2 rounds into the fight.
Could be a 10-6 round for Pacquiao.
The head movement, man. That's what I loved about Manny too. Like the head movement was constant. It was just he was always moving around, man.
Well, and in round 2, Pacquiao got off 77 punches by CompuBox count, only 45 for Marquez. So,
but that doesn't matter in this fight.
Pacquiao as well, which would put him 5 points ahead in the fight.
I think it's interesting. You kind of can see when Manny was in a tough fight, his demeanor changed.
Yeah.
Want to land a lot more of those.
Like,
but for those who don't know, Jeremy, can you just like explain that a little more, man?
When Manny was doing his thing, Manny kind of had that smile. It was almost like he was having fun in the ring. And he kind of, and especially if he, I feel at one point something clicked and felt like he didn't respect your power, then he was just walking right through. Then it was just like he's just coming right down the lane. It felt like in basketball terms. He's coming right through it. When Manny was in a tough fight, he looked like kind of like confused, a little agitated, like a little thrown off. And like
you see a lot of the gloves punching together. Like, yep, I agree with you.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
Would change, and so I think that's where the first round you saw he was like buzzing, like let's go. And then now you're kind of seeing second round it was slipping a little bit. He still had it. Now he's like, I'm in a fight here, and something's changing. And that change is Marquez. He's changing up his approach, and Manny's getting thrown off. That whole timing thing, he's like, how come I can't just walk right through you?
This was the key round of the fight, I think, in my opinion. Like, yeah, the first, and he knocked him down 3 times, but we talked about it. It's not like he was struggling to get up or anything like that, man. Those were flash knockdowns, still knockdowns, but he was able to get up. This is where the fight completely changed, and the tide was more towards now what Marquez was doing, and he settled in. His game plan is working pretty well. I think he's starting to get a lot more confident in the fight. And like you mentioned, I think you can see a little bit of frustration with Pacquiao. That's where all those wild punches start to come into play. But the fight is definitely changing here this round.
Yeah, I think he's seeing like he can't get those combinations off, and so this is very different for Manny. Like Manny doesn't really fight like this before and after. You don't see a lot of like there's constant movement. Now it looks like he's confused. He doesn't know where to attack him.
Right. Because I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I only saw it with 2 fighters. I saw it with Marquez and I saw it with Floyd that Manny looked like that.
Big right hand by Marquez there at the end. And it looks like he, again, caught him off guard, caught him off balance, and stopped him right in his tracks. And that's what I think Marquez is trying to do here, is every time he's coming in like that, he's trying to stop him right in his tracks with these right hands. Because nobody's ever called Pacquiao a great boxer. You know what I mean? Like he's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong, Hall of Fame fighter, top 10 fighter of all time. In both of our opinions, we talked about it in the podcast. But boxing skills wise, I don't know if I'm not putting Manny nowhere near top 10 all time.
Not at all. Very susceptible, very. And that's where some of his losses came from. He could get hit. I mean, he hit you. You felt it. Most people felt it and went away. But he fought that great defensive fight. I want to say this and see what your opinion is, Jose. I think the perfect nemesis for him and to beat a Manny Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez is like the perfect, like you put in a lab, you got to have a guy in every, not just fighting style, but also most importantly, personality and mental toughness. You got to have Juan Manuel Marquez.
Right. You need all 3 of those. Like you can't miss one of them, because if you miss one of them, you're going to see what happened like with Eric Morales, like and these guys, where Morales was a little older, so he was probably missing a few of those intangibles, let's just say, you know, like Marquez had all of them at peak time of his life, in his career, you know what I mean? Like he was a perfect, you're right, he was a perfect foe for Pacquiao.
Yeah, because you just see, he had the mental toughness where those knockdowns, he was flashing, and he's like, all right, I'm going to get back up, whatever. And then he had it where Manny liked to do psychological warfare. He liked to smile and kind of be caught. That's why I wasn't a fan of Manny, to be honest, with some of his stuff. But I respect it, especially now. But you see, like, Manny, after he got that big, he's putting his hands up like, what? He didn't do nothing to me. Marquez just walks right back to his point. Like, it doesn't faze him. He's not going to get into that stuff. And I think that's what you need against the Manny as well.
Yeah. No, those are great points, man, because this boxing is as physical as it can get, man. You know what I mean? When it comes to sports. But you know, the mental aspect of boxing definitely gets overlooked, because those strategies, and you know, if you got a guy screaming, always putting his hands up, and that'll mess with people's minds. But if the other guy doesn't look like affected at all by it, that can affect the mind of the person doing all that stuff.
Absolutely. So
Yep.
There you go. Stopping him right in his tracks.
And Jim Lampley just said it. He's now fighting more Marquez's fight than Pacquiao, and I think that's absolutely true. Like, this is not. If I'm Freddie Roach and those, I don't want to see Manny Pacquiao like this at all.
Yeah.
I know how fast he is. I know how powerful he is. But you don't know for sure until it's in front of you. And clearly, Manny Pacquiao was faster and more powerful than Juan Manuel Marquez was ready for. Since that time, Marquez has gotten his feet on the canvas.
There you go. Yep.
Jim Lampley. I missed it. I missed that man.
Yeah, I missed his whole, like the whole commentating crew right here,
Yeah.
man. Like,
he seemed to realize that he's getting hit mainly with just one punch. And he seems to be
these guys are
focusing
so
on
great, man, to
concentrating on
watch
avoiding
fight
his
for.
left hand, just like he did here. And as a result of that, Pacquiao is having a problem with him because his entire style was off of the left hand.
There you go. Ooh, that was a good shot there,
The
though.
lefty.
Yeah.
But that's not Pacquiao. Pacquiao was never really that. He got you one. It was a combo. It was a boom, boom. It was a setup.
You're right.
But
And I think if you ask Marquez if he's going to land, look, he's not even bleeding coming back from the ropes, like, you know, so if he lands one shot, he'll be all right with that. You know what I mean? Like, it's the combination, like you said, Jeremy, that they were probably afraid of.
so you look at it, and I know the scorecard is a big part of it, but you can honestly say it's 2-2 in my opinion.
Yeah, at this point, yeah. Great job by the corner on the nose, too, man. Great job.
I mean, that Nacho has some controversial stuff, but he was a hell of a
Yeah, he
trainer
does.
too, though.
Yeah, he does.
Mhm.
There you go. Freddie Roach told him, man, you're not being affected and you're letting him lead you. And that's exactly what's going on.
Let me ask you something. I didn't think about this for the for our podcast, but seeing the 24/7 promotion, you know, Marquez was a part of 24/7 with, you know, a Pacquiao fight and 24/7 with Mayweather. And a lot of those weird training habits came out. Do you think that hurt his leg? Like that kind of took away
A
from
little
him?
bit. Yeah, I think so, man. I think people, yeah, I agree with that. I know it did for me. You know what I mean? Like, with some of that stuff that he was talking about, like drinking the urine for protein. And I was like, dude, like, there's many other ways. Go eat a bowl of oatmeal or something, man. But, yeah, I think some people would, like, kind of, like, backed away from him after all that stuff.
Which is a shame. I think it affected his
Yeah.
legacy. Like, he became like a joke in a way.
Yeah.
Now we're into round 5.
You know? Because I think it was a chicken egg thing, too, or something
Yep.
like that. Yeah.
And then I remember after the 24/7 series, and he was in a press conference talking about it. He had to, like, talk about it a little bit. And I was like, that's not good. That's not what we want to talk about right now.
Marquez hunting and pecking through a counter-punching exercise.
Yeah, man, he's not even moving as much. The head movement is gone.
Nope.
Body shot by Marquez. Pacquiao says, I'll try one
He's
myself.
him up. That's the third one already, man.
Joe's on top of it. Joe's on top of it.
Nah, Joe Cortez is the man.
Joe, he knows. I like Joe Cortez.
Yeah, no, he's a great referee. No, he's not even in the picture, and that's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Catches Marquez with the right hook.
But also, these guys were not clinching. Like, I'll give both of them that. They were throwing shots, backing up, resetting, back at it. You rarely saw a clinch in this fight.
Yeah.
Ooh,
good
good
right
shot.
hand by Marquez.
Yeah,
Pacquiao says, I'm fine. Holds his hands in the
See?
air.
which means the opposite.
Exactly.
Pacquiao comes back with
But he does come back, though, man. Man, he's a fighter, dude. Like,
Both these guys are, man.
Yeah.
This is two warriors.
yeah, no, this is dynamite stuff right here, man.
Look at that, man. You can tell he doesn't know where to.
Backing off as if to say maybe it's not such a good idea to train.
Yep.
You know, Pacquiao still is such a big puncher and got so much spirit about him.
But I love
That right
it, man.
hand, man.
Marquez, because guess what? That head fake, that head movement throws a lot of people off. Marquez is just like, all right, you're going to keep on doing that. When you stop, I'm going to hit you.
Seems pretty simple.
It takes a great fighter, and Marquez is a great fighter. He's not an all-time great like Manny or Floyd, but he's a great fighter. He's a Hall of Famer.
He seems to be very comfortable with the way that the fight is going, and he's ended up getting his rhythm now.
And We're wondering if there might be a little cut over Manny Pacquiao's right eye. There is. In the eyelid.
Marquez has more things that he can do, but Pacquiao shooting for the straight left.
Look at that.
Right hand is finding the target over and over and over. He won the
Man, he's
round.
throwing them around now.
Pacquiao bleeding from his eye.
Manuel Stewart made a good point there. He said Marquez can do a lot more right now than what Manny can do. With just that left hand, like that's it. Marquez was doing a lot more than that. Look at that, man.
And I wonder if this, because Manny did become a more complete offensive fighter later in his career, I would say.
Yeah.
I'm with you. The defense and as a pure boxer, that was never there for Manny. But I feel like he became more than just the left hand. And I wonder how much of a fight, how much this affected him and Freddie Roach and being like, you got to develop more.
Right. No, I think, yeah, I agree. I think they stepped up their level of fighters, and you got to make those adjustments too, man. You can't be a one-trick pony, and with these guys, they're going to adjust that. Wow.
What a shot.
Yeah.
From Marquez.
He was hurt.
Back in the fight.
He's throwing more punches than Pacquiao. That says a lot, man.
Like I said, you got 3 rounds to 2, in my opinion. Now, the scorecard is a different thing, but
Marquez landed 14 out of 29 power shots in the 5th round. He is fighting his way back into it on the scorecards.
His punches are clean precision punches.
Yeah, they are. Great point, Manuel Stewart.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
With his head straight up.
In addition to being a great trainer, Nacho Beristain is an outstanding cut man, and he has stopped the bleeding in Marquez's nose. Now,
that's to your point too, yeah.
Which is amazing, dude. That nose was gushing. That was a good body shot too, because that stopped him right in his tracks again.
When he reaches with his hands like that, he opens himself up to Marquez's right hand counter.
Pacquiao, when he attacks with such a big lunge and a big step that it's great if he lands a shot. He's going to have a lot of power, and if he doesn't, he's always.
What I liked about Marquez though is, you know, we've talked about it on other things and off the air about the legacy, the pressure of being a Mexican fighter. We talked about it with De La Hoya when we did our stuff on him, and we're going to do a future episode on De La Hoya Trinidad. But it's just like that pressure. I think Marquez carried that, but I like how he carried it. It was with pride. It wasn't trying to go away from it, but he felt every time he went in that ring, he was living up to that great Mexican boxing legacy.
And he definitely did that. You know what I mean? And this was a great era for that. Like we mentioned names like Barrera and Eric Morales, and now Marquez. You got De La Hoya still fighting here. These guys were great fighters, man. Great fighters and great warriors, especially the first 3. You know, they were warriors in there, man. And they spilled a lot of blood in that ring, and they were a part of some great fights at this time. So I think he was just carrying the torch at this point.
Yeah.
Blood coming from Marquez's nose again after Pacquiao landed a left.
Yeah, I can't imagine. It's tough running with a stuffy nose. I can't imagine boxing with a broken nose from round 1, man.
Both fighters fighting at a fast pace. Marquez hits Pacquiao right on the hip. Manny doesn't worry about it. Keeps coming at him.
Yeah, it's something. It's that mental, but it's also sometimes you wonder how much adrenaline is keeping you going, or
yeah.
Regardless of what's the final outcome of this fight, Marquez has gained the respect of a lot of people.
Absolutely.
He's come back from one of the most brutal first-round pounders that I've ever saw Federer take.
Well, we told you it'd be a candidate for Fight of the Year. It's already clearly that.
Yeah, this was a boxing after dark fight too. You know what I mean? So it's less promotion. It ain't nothing crazy. This is gonna be a pretty good fight, probably.
No.
Probably one on the card.
The next fights, the next 3 were main event. That's why I said this is the only one I wasn't out somewhere. I was home. Just all right. After that, it was like you said on our podcast. Other people are involved. We got to get a table. We're going out. We have wings and all that stuff. The next 3 were all like that.
Yeah, look, this is on the next. The 3rd one's on pay-per-view for sure. But rightfully so. After this fight, you know what I mean? The performance that these 2 guys put on, they 100% deserve that.
From Marquez.
Another right hand. Boom.
Over the defense.
Leaning back straight up.
which pleases.
And this is like, again, this is a 25-year-old Manny Pacquiao who
so
had a
much.
lot of flaws in his game at this point of his career. And I know you touched on it a little bit earlier, Jeremy, where he was more one-dimensional at this point with the left hand and later on in his career. But defensively, there was a lot of flaws right now with Manny Pacquiao.
Well, and that kind of would get to me. And hey, he backed it up. Most part, he proved me wrong. But that's what I thought. A lot of arrogance, hands were down low, cocky. Like, that's what I got from Manny Pacquiao. That's where I was like, I don't. He bothered me.
That, man.
Look at Letterman. Yeah, it's Harold Letterman's. It's a 56-55 Pacquiao. 4 rounds to 2, really, with Marquez.
55, Manny Pacquiao.
And honestly, yeah, without the honestly, if Pacquiao knocks him down just one time in the first round, Marquez wins this fight.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Freddie Roach asked Pacquiao to double jab and hit him with straight left hand.
Like, he had to have an amazing first round, and Marquez had one of the worst first rounds for this to be considered a Pacquiao fight even.
So he can work effective jab, he can punch to the body, he can throw uppercuts, do different things. And
yeah, it looks like right now it looks like both these fighters are kind of like taking his round off a little bit.
But the late great, I meant to ask you this before, the late great Bert Sugar, he called Manny the best southpaw of all time.
Ooh.
And I think on paper I can see where he's coming from, but I think for what you say and I say about those holes in his game, I would put Marvin Hagler ahead of him.
I would too, yeah, because Marvin didn't have those flaws. You know what I mean? Like, it was a complete package there. He can box, he can punch you with power. You know what I mean? He can knock you out. He was, you know, he was one of the smartest boxers of all time, man. Could take a shot. There was none of this. Like, there was no questions in there. So, you know, I don't know. You got guys like Pernell Whitaker. I'm not saying accolades wise, he's not near with Manny, but as a fighter,
yeah, the eye test is a different story.
Right, pound for pound, like that's style, and I don't know. There's a few guys I might put over in Pacquiao.
Does Manny have a performance in his career as impressive as what Pernell Whitaker did against Chavez that night?
Man, that's tough, man. That was a great performance
against the ultimate. He made the ultimate like machismo fighter look silly that night.
Yeah, he did. And should have won the fight.
And should have won. Got robbed.
Yeah. I don't know, because that was a combination of great defense and counter punching, but also great offensive, like a great offensive performance. I've seen Manny put up great offensive performances, great displays of like punching power, but defensively, no. I've never seen Manny put something up like that defensively.
And I think what hurts is like Chavez wasn't done yet. I think he was getting older, but he still was a heck of a fighter. When I look at like Manny against De La Hoya, De La Hoya was older.
Yeah.
Manny against Ricky Hatton. Ricky Hatton was a joke.
Yeah. I mean, even against Morales, like those last two fights. The first fight, Morales beats him by decision. The next two fights, Morales at that point had a lot of rounds under his belt, a lot of wars, man. Yeah, and he was nowhere near the fighter he was early on in his career.
I honestly think the best fight of Manny's career, the best performance, I believe I saw that with you.
I had to go back to Achimo and Von Durrell, probably.
Oh, what fight was that?
Back in 2019, I think. I'm trying to think who we fought. That we won the welterweight again.
That wasn't Margarito, was it?
No. It was
As he's backing up, Emmanuel, he's not coming forward.
I should know who it was.
Started the fight.
Thurman.
Walking into the punch.
Keith Thurman.
Okay, yeah. That was a
I
good
watched that at your
performance.
house.
Yeah, that was a good performance because he was older and Thurman was a
Right.
young dude. Like,
Right.
he looked good there. Yeah,
Straight on the chin.
yeah. That's a good one. That was like a total package, Pacquiao. That's the fight where Thurman had that big lump on his forehead, wasn't it?
I think you might be right. Yeah.
Don't let him take control of the fight. Too late. It may have already happened.
Yeah, the fight is definitely in Marquez's favor. The control, the tempo. I mean, it's almost, honestly, because it's been a while. Like, I've watched this fight over the years, but just because of so much about Manny Pacquiao, it's like almost odd to see him fighting at this like slower pace.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like, this is not the same guy.
No, this is a master class right here, man. To be very honest with you, and when we do these rewatches, there, be like, there's times I don't even rewatch it until we watching it live, you know, on the show. And we talked about it just for like the more of the effect, but just looking at this, man, like, he's definitely had control since like that third round, like we were talking about. This round, this round's a little iffy because this will go to the bigger name pretty much.
So far,
none of these guys are doing anything. Just breathing out of his mouth. Look at that. That's dangerous, man. You get hit with a good shot, it'll break your jaw.
Marquez strafes him twice with the right hand. And as Pacquiao looks off balance, Marquez scores against the ropes.
Marquez look like he's taking this round.
And suddenly Marquez is in position to win the round.
Ooh, that was a good shot, though. That's a tough round to score, man.
Close. I would give it to Marquez. So far, I would.
More and more, Pacquiao's missing with the left, while Marquez is landing with the counter right.
Because, I think Marquez is actually getting the punches. He's landing them. Where Pacquiao's making a lot of movement, but not, is he doing as much effect? I don't think so. That's close. That is close, though.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man.
Okay, you can't afford to lose any rounds because if you lose one, you're going to lose the fight.
Yep.
Look at that. Well, I love that. I love the trainers who are just honest like that and not like, you're doing great, keep it up. Like, it's like, be real. Like, nah, man, you can't lose no more.
And he said a little more than that. Like, to be honest, like, he's like, you can't be playing around like that. Like, you can't lose these rounds because you're not going to win the fight. Meaning, like, what we're talking about. We don't know who to give this round to. A judge is going to say a bigger name. You know, we're going to give it to Pacquiao. You know, like, you can't give up these rounds like that, especially when you're trying to come back from a big point differential, which he already has. But you want to lose those more points.
Don't back up. Do nothing but go forward. They're going to collide as round 9 begins.
Well, Marquez told us that he was prepared to make a war of it if it came to that.
Yeah, now at this point, Marquez is like well in control of the fight. Now he's moving forward, you know, as opposed to sitting back like earlier in the fight.
Yeah.
Pacquiao just moved around a lot.
Well, and I don't think he ever lost respect for Pacquiao's power, but he took his shots and he wasn't really effective. I mean, his nose got busted, but like he wasn't like ever close to being like, is he going to get up? Like you knew he was getting up.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember if this fight, if he gets really hurt or not. I know in 2 and 3, and even 4, he gets hit, he gets knocked down, and he looked like, like he got knocked down, like he felt those. But I don't think even in this fight he was really hurt like that.
Still showing amazing energy.
Good energy level. He just cannot really get his rhythm right.
And that's why, not because of Manny Pacquiao.
It's so huge, and I think that I love doing these rewatches and being a student of the game because, you know, and not that, you know, I put on the gloves for a little bit, but I never had nothing, you know, and all that stuff like that. Never was like a real fighter. But when you hear people talk about fighting, and not just boxing, a lot of disciplines of fighting, the general public really have no idea. And I don't just mean physically, but just the knowledge. They don't really understand, like, what goes into it and how, like, key all this is. And, like, it is not about just, like, it's great when you are the exciting fighter. That's fun and all that. But, man, like, more times than not, if you're that wild fighter, you're getting your ass kicked.
Yeah.
So you got to have discipline. You got to be smart and patient, because if you're not, and this fight kind of shows that a little bit. Manny, you know, after that first round, I think he thought, I'm going to walk through this guy. He's like, no. Like, not going to happen.
This round, Pacquiao seems
yeah,
to
when
be
you're like,
outboxing Marquez.
I've never boxed either, like, but like when you, I would assume anyway, you know, like when you're trying to train someone, you're not showing Manny Pacquiao footage. You know what I mean? Like this is like an anomaly. Like what saves him is his tremendous punching power for being such a small dude. Like everything else at this point in his career, man, like you want to recommend that to a lot of fighters, because not a lot of fighters can do that. You know, that's that combination of speed and power. Like,
well, and I think if you look at it, and he got his ass whipped in this round, Marquez took it to him. And I think if you look at it, most of those wild fighters, that's what they had, the punching power. They relied on that.
Right.
You know, that's what helped them.
Or speed. You know what I mean? Like, and you start losing that speed, you're in big trouble. You got guys like Roy Jones or something like that, where, you know, they were so speed dependent on, you know, that's how they were knocking dudes out. When you lose that speed, now you really got to box. And if you don't have that, you're going to pay the price.
He's not doing
Both
too
of
much
these
for this
trainers
fight.
are telling them straight
But
up.
be careful of it.
One thing you say, you know, outside the fighters, these are two Hall of Fame trainers too.
Absolutely, yeah. Which I think adds even more, you know what I mean, to the fight.
Mm-hmm.
He's at what round? We got 10th round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Numbers through the 9th round show Pacquiao throwing about 100 more punches, but landing at a lower percentage. Marquez with a 20-punch edge and power connects, 95 to 75. The harder punches, well, Pacquiao in the first
that
3
sounded
rounds,
like it was solid, that punch.
Mm-hmm.
But in the last round, Pacquiao seemed to reestablish himself as the aggressor, and that's what his trainer Freddie Roach has been wanting.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't take it as like Manny got his ass kicked that round. I thought he was really aggressive in that round.
I looked at it like Marquez got that round, in my opinion. I thought Manny was throwing, but he wasn't connecting. And the effective punches I looked at went more to Marquez, in my opinion.
He's aggressive. Marquez is more aggressive this round. He must have heard something there.
Of choosing an extremely
well, like you said, the trainers are telling them there's no room for error. So, like, we had the luxury, you know, obviously this is 20 years later anyway, but even, you know, back in May of 2004, we're not it, but, like, both trainers are telling them there's no room for error. If you lose a round, you're done. Both are saying pretty much knock the other guy out. Like, it's too close. So, yeah, the urgency's for both fighters.
And that's the thing, man. Like, and it's not even just like how many punches you land and stuff. Like, obviously that's very important, but it's like if you're the more aggressor, like judges tend to score in the favor of those type of fighters. That was a good shot right there. You know, but the crowd reaction also like plays a part in like these judges and how they score the fight too, which it's annoying sometimes.
I think, in my opinion, Harold Letterman got caught up in it. I disagree with him on the last round. But judges do get caught up in that stylistic, stuff. You can look at, like, hey, Leonard versus Hagler, and Leonard getting little flurries at the end, 10 seconds, and then the whole round would be forgotten about, and he had that 10-second flurry. And smart move by him, but, a lot of times, like, you see Manny, he's head bobbing, throwing wild punches. The more effective punches, to me, were Marquez in the last round, throughout most of this fight.
Marquez pawing at his nose with his glove.
I don't know. I would have gave that last round to Manny. I'm giving this round to Manny too.
And just as you said, Emmanuel, he's dialing it in. He's finding the range.
This round's tougher for me. I might give. I give the last round to Marquez. This one I can maybe give to Manny.
He landed the bigger shots here. He was the more aggressive. He's tired though, man. He spit that mouthpiece right out.
Did he hurt you? Okay, let's get some ice.
Juanito's el 11.
It's 11th round. You're almost there. 6 more
He said
minutes and you
you
win.
got 6 minutes. That's it. That doesn't sound like a lot.
Hey, relax for me. Give me a chance. Man, all right? Now, you're destroying this guy when you go to him. You're destroying him when you go to him with the 1-2, right? Okay. All right, now let's finish up, okay? Okay. Body and head.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I agree with Freddie Roach there.
It's round number 11, son. Suck it up for me, okay, son?
He's tired, man. Look at that. I don't remember seeing that.
I don't remember seeing it before or after. Never seen Manny Pacquiao look like that.
Yeah.
CompuBox numbers from the 10th round show Pacquiao landing 10 out of 17 power shots. Substantiating the point that Emmanuel Stewart made, he dialed in the left hand again.
Championship round right here.
Yeah.
Shots for the first time since early in the fight. Harold, how do you have it through 10?
Both guys are tired.
Yeah, man.
At the end of round 6, I thought it was pretty darn close. But round 7, 8, 9, and 10, I just like Manny Pacquiao's left hand. I thought
You think he won all 4 of those 7
No.
10?
No.
See? Yeah.
I'd given him the last 2, me. But he didn't win all 4, no.
Manny Pacquiao, he's got that big point lead because of that 10-6 first round.
But I will say, though, like, Marquez has kind of, like, slowed down a little bit.
He's tired.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, he's breathing through his mouth.
Right.
So he definitely did. That's why I'll give the 10th round to Manny. But I don't give 7 through 9.
And Manny looks like he's found another gear, like, which is crazy to me. After we just saw, like, him putting his head back on the corner.
And this is probably before both these guys were using steroids too.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they got Manny's legs, how little they are compared to what they used to be towards the end. His calves were like tree trunks.
I said, I don't blame Floyd. Y'all got to test extensively.
Yeah, he's using that right hand now, finally. Pacquiao does.
It only took 11 rounds.
I know.
Tells you how much he's bothered by the blood coming out of his nose.
He's been fighting through a lot of pain from
yeah, that's insane, man.
Hand by Marquez. Pacquiao took it pretty well.
Yeah, he ate that one.
This is both guys are just fighting on guts right now. You can tell.
Yeah, this is a different type of athlete, man. Like I know, like all sports is tough, man, and there's amazing athletes everywhere. But this right here, man, like this is something completely different. You're in pain, man. Like you're in straight pain. And there's a dude in front of you trying to knock your head off.
Before tonight, Juan Manuel
This
Marquez
was a tough round too, because it's like none of them really did anything.
No, right now, this is like a draw right now. We got 25 seconds left, but I don't know who to call this round for. Yeah, that's why I'm just being a little quiet, because I'm just like, I don't even know.
Question is, can he come back and win?
Yeah, but I think win or lose, he's made his mark among Mexican fans for showing.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. Yeah, ooh, that was a good shot there.
To put himself back into this fight.
I don't really know who to call this round for still.
Yeah, this was tough.
I can call this round like split. No one.
Yeah, no, I think they both took this round off, to be honest.
Yes, I can't give it to either.
It's an incredible victory. It didn't look like you're going to win, but you got it now.
Now you got to build that confidence.
Yeah, it's final round.
Yeah.
All right, Manny. This is your round, son. We need this round badly. Manny, all right? You got to put him on his ass this round. You hear me? Okay. Now, Manny, look for the double left hand. Do not let him be first. Okay,
Do not let him be first. That's right.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
But he has not been following that for most of the fight.
No, he's not. He's not doubling up. He's doubling up on that right, but that is not. It's just trying to set up the left. He wanted to double left, which is interesting.
If they win this round.
Look at that. He's not even. Oh, that shit looks like it hurts, man.
Mm-hmm. I agree. What a fight, man.
Yeah, this is so good. Oh, good shot there.
Good shot. Look at Marquez. Little hand speed there. I like it.
Yeah, that was a good body shot, though. He stopped him. But I know, like, I can't remember. It might have been the third fight where Marquez just stopped throwing punches, man. That really, I don't know if it was one of these later fights that he really hurt himself in that 12th round. He stopped throwing punches.
Oh yeah, he thought he won, and he did. But like, I mean, trust me, for everyone watching, we're gonna get to a classic fight in September.
Oh yeah.
Where a fighter stopped throwing punches, and we'll see. Did he really lose that fight? Because
he changed the sport. He changed the sport. He thought he was running track, and he started running around in circles.
We know where your allegiance was in that fight for sure.
Absolutely.
But I was with you. I love Tequila Trinidad, so I was rooting for Cheeto.
But for the show, I'll try to be as partial as possible.
But.
Ooh, good shot.
Good left by Pacquiao. Let's see if he's trying to double up.
He hasn't yet.
Finely conditioned, highly motivated, highly skilled athletes. Both with great hearts.
But you know, I think that it's all these cliches are so simple. You hear them all the time, but it's true. He just heard him say, "Do that." But once you get hit, it doesn't. It's like it's a different thing. Is once you're getting hit out, this is the 12th round. It's like forget that. I'm trying to survive.
Yeah, he's been hit a lot. You know what I mean? Like he's definitely.
This is a good fight, Aaron.
Yeah, hell yeah, it is.
Marquez hadn't been so badly physically damaged the first round. This would have been one tremendous fight.
I should see a list, but you know where this ranks for best fights of the decade. You know, this is high for me, man. It's such an amazing fight.
Yeah, this is definitely high for me too.
And just what these two guys put on. One of my favorite fights of all time to watch, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
I love this fight. And this might be my favorite of the four.
Oh, out of the four, absolutely. This is the best fight for me out of the four. Down. Fire against fire.
Last chance to make a statement as the bell gets ready to ring.
Yeah, I think of
great fight, man.
Great fight. The Gotti Ward fights, you know.
Yeah, that's another level.
Yeah.
Even remember when it was Gotti, I believe, or maybe it was Ward, fought the dude from Philly, Ivan Robinson.
Yeah.
They were killing each other in those fights.
They were.
115.
They were. I would say this is probably behind
Manny Pacquiao. I mean, Jim, that
the 2000s were probably really defined by those Gotti Wards in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But after that, I look at this though for sure.
I thought Pacquiao came back very well in the 7th, 8th,
and these are two great fighters. You know, Gotti Ward. It was two guys. You know, Ward was definitely towards the tail end towards the tail end of his career too, and Gotti was kind of up and coming, but you know, I don't think he was going to be this great fighter, and it was just like two guys just beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah, they weren't really the best of the sport.
Right.
He scored Morales Ayala 117.
It's incredible that those fighters and those fights are so known. Because they weren't stars.
Ayala Tapia scored 115,
you know, like they don't compare to these two guys. But,
and Ayala was indeed the winner of that fight.
I don't know. Does that hurt it a little bit then because they weren't the best of the best fighters?
See, I look at it. It almost like
it's amazing
makes it even better for me, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because it's like
10, 15 years ago,
I
nobody
definitely
thought
didn't
that you would
expect
have
that
featherweights
fight,
on
and then they did it a couple more
But then
times,
there came
man.
a little
Like,
guy
just
named Nassim
I don't know.
Ahmed.
I thought it made that even
And he
better.
created the mold of the featherweight slugger.
Yeah.
No, I think it is.
Manny Pacquiao. And tonight, in the first
But I
round,
still
Manny
think this
Pacquiao
rivalry is the
stunned
best
Juan
rivalry
Manuel
of the
Marquez.
21st century.
Yes, yes.
Everyone at ringside knocked Marquez down
Because
3 times.
I think the
in
difference
first
is these
round.
are great
There was a
fighters
moment
too.
when
Yeah.
You know what I
didn't think
mean? Like
Marquez was
fighting
going to
for a
effectively
lot.
get
Those
up
two guys
from
were
that
just
third knockdown, but he
that was
did.
more of a
He
pride.
survived to live
You know what I'm
the
saying?
last
Like
30
they
minutes
weren't
for 30
fighting for
seconds of the
titles
first
or nothing
round.
like
By
that.
rounds
Like
5 and
Well,
6,
it
Marquez
felt
was coming
like
back
undercard
and was
guys.
winning the
right,
fight,
there you go.
or at
Yeah,
least winning
yeah.
rounds, knocking Pacquiao back with his right hand, avoiding the left. But by the latter stages of the fight, Pacquiao began to land his straight left hand again and brought the blood back
Damn,
out.
there was so much ebb and flow in this fight, man.
Broken nose. In the 11th round, they traded shots.
So I can ask you,
Tried to muster
rewatching
knockout
it,
shots
20 years, do you
to
like?
close things out, and
Are
then
you
they
saying,
both fought
man,
their
that was
way
bull?
evenly, more
How
or
do you
less
feel
through the
about the fact that it
Manny
is a draw?
Pacquiao won it with some big left hand shots.
I'm still okay with the draw,
round.
to be honest.
And Manny
Like
is the likely
I'm
winner.
still okay.
As we get ready for the scorecards, it would appear
I'm more surprised that
the 10-6 first. Let's go to Michael Buffer
Marquez
and find
was
out who
a
won.
lot more in control than I thought.
Ladies
You
and
know what I mean?
gentlemen,
Like in the middle
here
of
at
that
the
fight.
MGM Grand of Las
But I'm
Vegas,
okay with the draw.
after
What about you?
12 great
Me
featherweight
too.
rounds,
And you hear
we
they all
go
think
to
Pacquiao
the
won, but
scorecards. Jon Stewart scores it 115 to 110 for Pacquiao.
Wow. I don't think it was
Keith
115 to
scores it
110.
115 to 110 for Marquez.
wow.
And Bert
Nah, that's
Clemens
crazy.
scores the bout 113, 113, a three-way split. The bout is a draw. Both fighters.
Yeah,
keep
115,
their
110
respective titles.
for Marquez.
The bizarre scoring
It's
and the
crazy to me.
controversial draw
You know what I mean?
were
Like,
reflective
but
of a great fight in which both the attacker, Pacquiao,
But
I
I
don't
do
know, man.
think it depends. If you look at after those 2 rounds, like I said, I think Marquez won a lot.
Nah, man. He won a lot, but
I think 115, 110 both ways is crazy. I don't think
Yes,
one way is
yes,
crazy
yes.
and the other one isn't.
I agree with that.
So
I agree with that.
yeah. So I think you got to say both are crazy. I
Yeah.
think the best scorecard was the draw, the 113.
Right. No, I was, but again, I think we talked about it throughout the fight. For Marquez bouncing back from the first 2 rounds, where he was already down 5 points, so he means he had to win 5 rounds out of this fight, man, to even it up, was very impressive, man. And he got a lot of respect from me on that fight, but just looking back at it, man, it's just kind of like rehashed that respect. 'Cause it's like that was impressive, man.
Because to your point, he had won, and no doubt he won. He won. I think after the first 2 rounds, he won the next 5 rounds for sure.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
really
So that'll put
got
him at
back.
that'll put him in the 8th round, and then that's when it started going back and forth to me. Yeah, because I think he might have even won. Manny probably won the 8th, he won the 9th, and then it was just like back and forth, man. This was an amazing fight there. I mean, I'm glad we did this, man.
Absolutely, man. It was so much fun to see, and he's kind of one of those guys that there's certain athletes in those sports where you root against them all the time, and then when they're gone, it's you don't know what you got till it's gone. And I rooted against Manny Pacquiao every time he fought. I really did.
That's crazy. You might be the only guy I've ever heard say that. To be
I know
honest with
plenty
you,
of people.
I don't. I've never heard people that do not like Manny Pacquiao. I just think I don't know, man. I've never come across any.
Oh, because I know plenty. I was a Floyd Mayweather guy. I liked Floyd.
And that's fine. Like I get it. Like he was great, but
remember now it's over. But for so long, when you got to late 2000s into the 2010s, it was those 2 guys.
Right.
And it was Pacquiao, people saying Floyd's scared, and Floyd people be like, nah, man, he can't. So there was a rivalry amongst the fans waiting for it. So now it's kind of like it's over, and you're like, yeah, hey, they both were great. Just like now in football, Brady, Manning, they both were great. You know what I mean? Like, all right, we could take that. But in the time, you had it was Brady or Manning. For a while, I loved watching Floyd fight. Floyd was so fun. Even when he got older and was slow, I loved the masterpieces he was putting on because I'm like, people don't realize how hard it is what he's doing. So that was why. And I kind of thought Manny was cheesy. Like outside the ring. He was a badass in the ring, but I thought he was corny. He was cheesy.
Outside the ring, yeah, I'm whatever. Like all that to sing there, he tried to sing. He's a congressman now at this point. Like, you know, I mean, not when the fight happened. I mean, today, but like, I get that. Like, but the dude, man, like, was as a boxing fan, yeah, he was not your traditional, like, to your point, Floyd Mayweather, like, type of boxer. You know, even the Marquez for that, you know what I mean? Like, just a straight traditional. He was just something different, man. Like, and it's something that honestly, like, we're never going to see again. Nobody that small with that speed. Obviously, he's going to have the speed at that size and weight, but to back it up with that power, man, and the ability to want to mix it up like the way he did,
hey,
that's a rare combination.
I've said
man.
it. He's a top 10 fighter of all time.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the eye test, it's not crazy to call him the greatest southpaw for the things that his accomplishments that are historic. So, like, yeah, he's for sure. Some probably would put him in the top 5, but I don't think I put him there.
Even as a fan, I'm not doing that for him. Nah.
But he's a top 10 fighter of all time. Like he's that great. So he has my respect, and he had it back then too. But I wanted to see him lose, and I was the loudest one yelling when Marquez knocked him out, and I was damn.
That was an ugly knockout. That
Yes.
was ugly.
He went to sleep. He did the Nate Robinson, the Jake Paul Nate Robinson. He did that before Nate Robinson did it.
That was ugly.
So
that was ugly, and it was coming though. Marquez missed a lot of those shots in this fight. 2 and 3, finally got him. You know what I mean? He got him twice in that fight, in the fourth fight. But at that point, man, Manny was up 2-0. It didn't really matter.
It does. It does.
It didn't matter.
It does, man.
No, it was the ugliest. Yeah, it was an ugly knockout.
Because guess what? You can say it's just like the Ali Ken Norton thing. It's like, did he ever beat him? And it's like, did Manny really ever beat?
I think he did, man. Like I don't know.
Has is the second fight, because this fight he did not clearly beat him in my opinion. I think a draw is the right call. The second fight is the one I would want to redo that one, like rewatch that again, because I felt that was close. The second one might be the one for me that Manny might be the one.
But I'll say this: if you felt as though he beat him this first one, I can't argue that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a draw. I agree with the draw. Again, we talked about it on the podcast episode, Jeremy, where it's like they scored that first round at 10-7. If that's a 10-6, he wins the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's something small, and you called it, what did you call it? Like a good mistake or something like that. But it's still a mistake. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he would have been 3-0 if that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And I agree with you. I think the third fight, I think it should have went Marquez's way. I do. So that'll split them. That would have split them in all actuality.
Right.
Then what? They got to fight again? At this point, I was tired of them fighting at 4.
But now with what is in the podcast, we missed these kind of, we missed this. Like, we didn't know it was going to go so south. Now, I would have loved to have seen a fifth fight.
Yeah, me too. And they agreed. I think they agreed upon it, but it didn't work out for whatever reason. But
so it's interesting. But I think there are people who feel like Marquez won the first fight, and I do have to say, if you agree with the draw, like you do and I do, then you can't say, well, if people said Manny won, I'm okay with that. You gotta say, if people said Marquez won, I'd be okay with that too, because I would be okay if people said that he won. He controlled a lot of rounds, man. I mean, he controlled a lot of rounds.
He did. He did. He listen. He fought a great fight again with a broken nose from the first round on. The dude got my respect, man, hands down, easily. You know, so
even drinking piss.
Even drinking piss. He's full of piss with the broken nose.
Yep.
Piss full of a belly full of piss. Like
Yep.
he didn't know what to do, man. But two great fighters, man, at their prime, going to war, man. There's nothing like that, man. Definitely miss that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This was a fun one. Like I said, I know in September we're going to do De La Hoya Trinidad. That's the 25th anniversary of that epic fight. I don't know if you want to call it a great fight. Definitely an infamous fight.
Wasn't great,
lot
but
to unpack. A lot to unpack with that super fight 25 years later. So you can go back in our archives on the YouTube channel. We've done Foreman Lyle. We've done Bo Holyfield. A lot of great fights on here, man. So, in our podcast feed, we did Leonard Hearns. We did Clay
Holmes Cooney. Yeah.
Holmes Cooney. So please check it out. So if you want to follow us here, like, subscribe on our YouTube channel, Bigger Than the Game with Jeremy and Jose, and also our podcast feed. Go like and subscribe that as well, man. So Jose, we're going to be coming back with more. So I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm very excited, and from the numbers we put up when it comes to boxing, man, it looks like a lot of our fans are going to be excited for this one too. So thanks for watching this episode for sure, and we got a lot more coming.
For the hardest working man in show business and vice president of the Manny Pacquiao fan club, Mr. Jose Ruiz.
Wait till the Trinidad, though. Oh my God, it's going to be crazy.
Thank you guys for watching Bigger Than the Game with Jeremy and Jose.
Peace.